anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ ihe niile. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-azọpụta. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na n'ụtụtụ na-eja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise, ise, ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. If you are joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, Australia, or any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contribution. Please, each time you watch my video, go to the comment section and put down your comments. That is
sitting and former governors, as well as some presidential candidates, all trooped out of the country to the United Kingdom to, as one of them put it, hold consultations in the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians. Suddenly, London, the symbol of the British colonization of Nigeria and other British colonies, has become, for our politicians, some sort of political mecca, where consultations are held, deals are made, and political differences back here in Nigeria are to be resolved. As it seems, nowhere in this vast country called Nigeria is suitable for such meetings. No fewer than 3 of those meetings took place in the British capital, as 3 of the 18 presidential candidates scampered off to London in a desperate effort to outdo each other in securing the support of the supposedly influential political chieftains. In their mad rush to the London Palace, they all conveniently forgot the dire state of the Nigerian economy, which they have all, without exception, been ruined. Just imagine how much foreign exchange must have been taken out of the struggling economy and sunk into those avoidable trips at the expense of the Naira. Are you still wondering why the value of the Naira keeps nosediving every day? Yet, these are the same people who say they are seeking the presidency in order to fix the economy. And one wonders if they have to ruin the economy completely first before trying to fix it. Anyway, some of those candidates and governors have returned home, while others are still junketing around Europe and the United States in the name of consultations, even when diaspora voting is not yet part of our electoral system. Or is it to solicit funds for the upcoming campaigns? Now, even as this is yet to settle, the electoral management body, the Independent National Electoral Commission, has reminded political parties and candidates of the provisions of Section 92 of the Electoral Act, which prohibits political campaigns in religious centers and public offices. Some candidates have in recent times made it a habit of going from one religious house to the other under different guises, but ostensibly to garner support. And this is in violation of the provisions of the electoral law. The INEC warning is coming just about 1 month before the official date for the commencement of campaigns for the 2023 presidential election. And we shall be looking at these 2 developments with our political scientist, Professor Jideofo Adibe, who is right here with me in the studio. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you.
For time to join us.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight into our discussion.
The Nigeria of our dream, the Nigeria we need, is the united, indissoluble, and cohesive Nigeria, which guarantees equity, fairness, justice, and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics, and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics, and power on AIT.
All right, my guest, Professor Jideofo Adibe, is a political scientist. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us.
Thank you.
Right. Did these meetings come to you as a surprise? These meetings, the set of meetings that took place in London in over a period of 1 week?
Well, it's not really very much of a surprise. Our political elites, they value holidaying abroad. They prefer that their children should be sent to school abroad. And recently, it's become also fashionable for their children to wed abroad, especially in Dubai. So this is one of the ways of underlying their own elitism, the exclusivity of what they do. Well, regarding the meetings, one of the arguments was that they wanted to escape the prying eyes of the Nigerian public. If that was the case, then why do they have to send the photographs back to us, to rub it to our face? But let me also say something. I'm more concerned about those holding government offices. So if you're a governor, it will be interesting to know, are you using state funds for such? Because it's not part of your state duties. And technically, it should be called abuse of office to use government resources for your own personal and private gain. For those who are funding it from their pockets, those who are not, there is also a moral question. If, for example, in the US, you are running for president and they see you driving a Japanese car or a British car, it detracts from you, from your presidential bid. If you are in the UK and running to be prime minister and they see you driving an American car, it's something negative. In the same way, even if you are running with your own money as a private person and they see you going abroad, I mean, I can understand if you say you want to go and engage with Nigerians, but you go to hobnob and hold meetings. It is something that is not so good in terms of the morality of it all. So I think it's something Nigerians should begin to raise questions. And if it is meant to glamorize such meetings and there is a backlash, then obviously they will take the message will be passed across that, look, we are not impressed. There are so many places you can do it here. Why not do it here? So I think raising this outcry is one of the ways of checkmating it. And I hope some of the NGOs will also raise questions of the funding, especially from some of the governors. Very interestingly, a number of the governors who were on the trip are owing salaries. One is owing the salary of the lecturers in the state universities. One is owing pension arrears. And you have money to go there, and you went to Parkland, an exclusive hotel where an estimated cost per night will be about equivalent almost 500,000 naira. That's something that should be probed. If it is from their pocket, well, that would be a different thing. But I think the government agencies should be looking into such matters.
Before the London meetings, the norm was to either head to Dubai or head to France. And then now it is London. Maybe next time it will be in New York or Washington, D.C.
Well, they had held that meeting in Turkey. Remember, it was Nyesom Wike who first went to Turkey as the beautiful bride. People were going there to meet him. And then it allegedly, the former vice president Atiku Abubakar has his home allegedly, in Dubai, and most of the political meetings he prefers to hold there. Again, ostensibly to escape from the prying eyes of the public. We don't know if that's the case because he has denied it. But I say it's just like the public education system, where their children are not in the public education system in the country, so it doesn't matter to them if it's collapsing. So if you are preferring abroad now, how are we sure that you have a vested interest in fixing this country and making it good? Because it's only when you stay and say, this is where I'm doing my own thing, people will then believe that you are walking the talk, that this is where you are and that you want to make it better. So you are giving the impression that this country is collapsing and that you are already finding a plan B for yourself. And that is not very good for people who want to lead us.
And these are the same people who on a daily basis talk about the very poor state of the Nigerian economy. And for these same people to be taking so much in terms of foreign exchange, out of the country. Should that be a concern to the average Nigerian?
Yeah, it should, especially if you are doing it from your pocket. I mean, from the state resources. But as I said, even if you are deriving it from your private pocket, at a time people are trying to, bring people's faith back into the country, give hope that you are going to fix this country, and say, look, I'm going to stay here. We are going to make this place better. I'm one of those people who believe that if you want to run for a political office, you have to assure us that your children will be in public schools, that you are going to patronize the public hospitals, because at least out of enlightened self-interest, you have vested interest in making it work. But first of all, you people don't holiday in this country. Your children don't study here. You do a medical tourism. Now, something as banal as holding a meeting, no hotel is good enough for you now. So why do you want us to believe you are interested in this country? This is a moral question, even if you're paying from your pocket.
Let's now look at the outcome of those meetings.
Yeah.
There were a series of meetings. First, there was one with the APC presidential candidate, another one with the Labour Party presidential candidate, and then the PDP presidential candidate. And then there was also one with former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Now, what is it that can be taken away from those meetings that can substantially affect the 2023 elections, or the strategy for the 2023 elections?
Let me put it this way. The two main parties, the PDP and the APC, have some issues. First of all, you have the same fate ticket of the ruling APC, which obviously some people are trying, or unexpectedly, people are trying to make a political capital out of it. Now you come to the PDP. It has also its own issues. First, at a time people believe that it should be the turn of the people from the south. Somebody from the north, moves in and becomes the presidential candidate. That alone is one thing they have to grapple as election. On top of that, you have national chairman is from the north, board of trustees from the north, and the presidential candidate is from the north. The argument, I'm surprised that the PDP is even making an argument that it is only when it wins that they will consider the chairman stepping down. The important thing for them to know is that the optics they create is what people look at in the voting itself. Already, some people are caricaturing them as Northern People's Congress. What do I mean? It means that as weakest argument, some people believe he's overstretching it, but some people believe, well, he has a point, that it only makes sense if you really, it's not enough, for example, that at a time that the sentiment is that the power should shift to the south, somebody from the north, a Fulani Muslim, is trying to succeed. That alone, they should be in a position to milk political capital from the same faith ticket of the APCs, and they are not able to do that. So simply because of this baggage they have. So that therefore, probably that's what the Labour Party is trying to exploit itself. It has its own issues, being relatively new and others. So it is now not straightforward. Before you could say that the dominant party, the ruling party, has all the advantages. But politics being a game of subtraction and addition, in the APC you have the subtraction of the same faith ticket. In the other party that should have easily capitalized on it has its own baggage. And the worst of it is that it's being arrogant about it. Nobody should even tell them that in the run-up to this election we need to do this, to douse this idea that people are seeing us as a Northern People Congress, so that we will even win the vote. So if you don't do it, how do you expect the generality of people from the south to even vote for you? I think it is even when they have had, he shouldn't even have waited if they really are interested in winning. That's the way I look at it. So it's all about permutations. And the complicating thing there is the involvement of the former president. And he's a man driven very much by what he believes, and he doesn't care. So we don't know. First of all, there were insinuations he was supporting a particular candidate. And then he came out recently to say, look, I have no candidate, after meeting, with both Babangida and Abdul Salam, which raises the question, was it that he had a secret candidate and after the meeting he changed his mind? So nobody says. He said he has a Nigerian agenda, and that will unfold shortly. So we are waiting.
Now, why we wait for him to come up with his Nigerian agenda? We need to also interrogate why he had those consultations, because they call them consultations in London, only to come back home to come and consult with General Abdulsalam Abubakar and General former President Ibrahim Babangida. So, given what we have seen so far, and going by what have been put in the public space by those who went for those consultations, was it worth the while going all the way to London to go and consult and then come back to Nigeria to come and do further consultations? Have we seen anything positive from those consultations?
We don't know what the permutation, but let me say that as former heads of states, they have vested interests. Everybody knows that this country is on a precipice, and as people who have ruled this country, they should have special interests in the survival of this country. So I can understand that people will look up to them to take certain steps. And his own argument is that he went to see Abdul Salami because when he was ill in London, the day he arrived to see him was the day he left. And then obviously Babangida is not very disposed, so he had to go and see him. From there he went to see another governor, I think Okezie, in Imo State, other states. So it's moving around, giving credit for being a highly energetic man, the same way he was when he was. We don't know what people are saying, what is he up to, and we'll see how it all comes together, because what we know is that one way or the other he's trying to work out something. There have been rumors that he was pressuring one candidate to step down for another, and all this for others to support. We don't know, and we should not even assume that if Obasanjo said to Wike, now you support candidate A, that everybody in that zone will follow. It doesn't. I don't think it will follow that way. The government, yes, the governors are powerful, especially when it comes to controlling the rigging machine. But if Beavers has reduced the possibility of rigging, we don't know. But if it has, it also means that the influence of the governors in determining the outcome of an election in their zones is also reduced. So I think we are making, yes, governors are extremely important. They control what you can call the party structure. But they don't have the power to tell everybody to queue on the same line. If that happened, then we wouldn't have sitting governors losing elections. It happened in Ekiti. It happened in a few other places. Even Jonathan lost election. So while we respect the power of governors, we should not overrate them.
Should we believe those who say that their consultations in London or indeed elsewhere is in the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians? Or could this just be a way of obfuscating the true picture of things, that these people are actually out to protect their own political and economic interests?
First of all, I believe that Governor Wike was playing some kind of mind game, and politicians all play mind games. I call them political investors. Because yes, everything they do, they will rationalize it on national interests. But the truth is that it's about them. So that is why in any conflict situation, political conflict situation, they start with sharing of political positions. If we win, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. So who knows what they are trying to broker? It is also possible that some of these things they are doing is to just kind of a decoy. Remember, they say politics is a game. So nobody knows what is happening. We are waiting for the agenda and we interrogate them. I believe that when the formal campaigns are lifted, some of the issues will start coming to the light.
Okay, let's quickly talk about the warning that was issued a few days back by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And it pertains to campaigns in religious centers, in public offices, in police stations, and all such places. And the commission made reference to Section 92, particularly subsection 3 of that section, which talks about campaigns not being allowed in places designated for religious worship, police stations, and public offices, and says they shall not be used. What do you think may have motivated the commission to issue that warning? Because it did say that the penalty for such conduct is quite clearly spelled out in the Electoral Act. Fines and terms of imprisonment.
Well, you have to look at it. One, are we talking about campaign now, or when they? If you are talking about when they ban on campaigns, you know,
it's lifted.
It's lifted.
When that will be September 28th.
That if it is that's a different thing, because no right-thinking person will carry campaign and go to church and say, I'm doing campaign. That's otherwise what they are mistaking is that campaign is ongoing now. It is ongoing now, but they will call it they are not campaigning, they are only testing the microphone. So when you visit a church, you don't even make a speech. So that is about the opaqueness of some of the provisions in that section 92. You are not, but you are doing what they call symbolic speech, symbolic campaign. The mere fact that you are being introduced and you are a candidate is a campaign itself, but nobody can hold you down to it, because you have a freedom of movement, you have freedom of association. If anybody can be blamed, it will be the media and the people who use their phones to take photographs of such and post on the social media. So you cannot tell somebody, a candidate, simply because he's a candidate, he loses his right of association, his right of going to mosque, and his right of going to church. There are so many, that section 92, so many opaqueness, but it's about a moral suasion. For example, it talks about you don't have to engage in hate speech. The truth is that in elections, and there's a very thin line between what you call hate speech and aggressive interrogation of claims. In every election, it was Mao Zedong who told us that politics is war without weapon. War without bloodshed. Why war is politics with bloodshed. So it is always in every climb. It's heated. And another one, they say, based on issues. There is no place in the world where campaigns are conducted like academic seminars. It is always emotionally driven. And what you call focusing on issues is not what decide elections in countries like we look up to. Look at America, for example. If you are running for election, they look at your character, they look at your integrity. In 1988, I'm sure you are aware of, Gary Hart was already a Democratic front runner. It was just infidelity. You know about Chappaquiddick. It's at Kennedy's 1969. It was that derailed him. So in the UK, what brought Boris Johnson down is not about performance. It's about partying in a kind of COVID. So it is the integrity. They will, in fact, you are not actually elected if you are a president to have the capacity to be able to implement specific policies. Your role is to manage men and resources. So when I understand when people say, tell us how and why, and you have to focus on issues. Yes, we agree, but no, there's no way. Elections are driven by emotions. And that is why some people call democracy mob rule. It never promises you that you get the best.
But that may work in some very advanced democracies. In most other democracies in the developing world, such moral issues hardly play key roles.
Look, tell me any country you know where it is pure, tell me what you can do. It doesn't. Look at the campaign in the UK now. Sunak should have been the one. But you see, it's not so much there, there's a mixture of your emotions, and that is why political strategies, when they come around, they do what they call demographics. They identify various identity markers and do tailor messages to each identity. So so many of these things, section 92, that's in, you look at it, is okay, this is very moralistic. Are they implementable? No. If, for example, a priest or an imam decides to they played a key role in registration of PVC. Now, if they are doing their homily and they start to say, look, these are the qualities of somebody we don't want you to vote for, and is pointing to a particular candidate, you can't say he has violated anything, because you only say he's expatiating, providing political education. So it becomes very difficult. So that's the entire section is very opaque.
All right, Prof. I'm hoping that before the campaigns kick off on September 28th, we should be able to come back here to talk about our expectations of what each of those candidates and the political parties should be putting out there, because at the moment very little is being said about the manifestos, the programs of the political parties. All we see is a lot of attack on personalities of the candidates. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Right. Professor Jideofor Adibe is a professor of political science, and he joined me on People, Politics and Power to take a look at political developments in Nigeria. Stay with us.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you, and remember blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.